Hey there, UniVersus! I'm Levi, and today we'll be journeying across the ocean once more to the land of the UK for their regional license exam in Sheffield. The UK player base always gives us a jolly good show, and they really came out to deliver. 74 players journeyed out here to compete in their last chance to fight their hearts out in hopes of getting those sweet gold dual needle lunges. Taking a look at this meta breakdown, the pie chart tells all. Mirio and Overhaul are at the top of our food chain as usual, being incredibly beginner friendly and accessible, as well as extremely powerful characters right outside of their clash decks. Overhaul was not the only Hasaikai making a name for himself though, with Rappa showing up as our third most repped character. Was this finally his event to punch his way through? Next up was Midoriya 4, another character that has also been itching to take some top cut slots. Always very heavy in the representation, as we can still see here, but still has not made his name yet. With Ares power in tow, he's strong for sure, but does he have what it takes? Sir Night-Eye is a character that has been supremely under the radar despite being from the almighty set 5. Seeing a handful of them here is surprising, but I couldn't wait to see what futures he had to show us. Eraserhead and Mimic are some of the most recent standouts from our Gen Con RLE, really proving their power through top cuts, and they definitely have a lot more to show us overseas as well. 7 Swiss rounds came and went, but only 16 fighters could stand at the top. Mirio found his fabled conversion rate, taking a quarter of the slots, but would he make it all the way to the top again? Overhaul was of course right behind him, but in stark contrast, as opposed to all of Mirio's being the good symbol, Overhaul had all 3 of his symbols showing in the top cuts here. Punches were ready to fly though, with the rising stars of both Midoriya 4 and Rappa both occupying a pair of slots in this bracket. Speaking of punches, Nomu was also here to smash the competition, with a pair of him being one of the only 2 non-set 5 characters in this top cuts. Our last set 5 character here to make his name was Amajiki again. This guy took a while to make a competitive stand, but after a knockout performance at Gen Con, he was clearly here to stay inside the metagame. Lastly, Kyoka Jiro was of course here to defend her title. After taking down the last event in the UK and many others, it'll take a lot of set 5s before she's pushed out of our meta. The top 16 action was unbelievable. We saw hardened tribal Nomus swinging fists, chimeras krakening back and forth, but despite it all, only 2 could stand in the final ring. And when it comes to our overseas RLEs, history was here to repeat itself because we had a clash deck showdown here once again. Mirio and Overhaul. Piloted by Emma Gillespie, we saw a jack of all trades, Mirio-style deck enter the fray. Lemillion is very well known at this point for being a powerhouse of an aggro character, looking to punch and slam you all the way down to 0 health as fast as possible. Changing our zones non-stop is very fitting of our permeation quirk, as it makes us incredibly hard to block and stave off full damage more than 1 or 2 times a turn. And when all the striking is done, we can use the momentum that we pack away as a powerful defensive resource to effectively negate 1 attack per turn. Mirio's power is unrivaled, but it truly comes off the back of the good symbol punch package as well. Phantom Threat is our signature secret rare attack, being one that carries a lot of stats with our zone changes, as well as giving us our momentum resource no matter what our rival does block-wise. And then, Back Alley Haymaker and Valiant Assault are the resource gifts that keep on giving, either building us or drawing us new cards, with the ability to make these very mid, very low damage attacks actually quite threatening. Mirio gets to enjoy the best of both worlds when it comes to flow and aggro at his cards. The foundation lineup is where Emma really pivoted from the norm though. Of course, we have the aggressive staples. Lemillion of the big 3 lets us put 2 points of stats on all of our attacks in tandem with our zone change, and we can weaponize our whole stage with self-sacrifice uses. But the defensive tech was off the charts here. We had one of Cheerleader, one of So Manly's tripping our rival up defensively, Specialist of Sounds for even more speed reduction, and Manly Passionate guys to build our blocks down. Our deck elected to let Mirio carry almost all of the aggressive weight, and instead we get to play very solid good symbol defense inside of our foundations. As strong as it was though, eventually we held true to the anime's roots and just barely missed the final mark against the monster that is Overhaul. Hot off the heels of his just recent RLE victory at Gen Con and on the life symbol once more, Luke Quincy brought the event to its knees with the young head of the Shie Hasaikai. Overhaul is a powerhouse of a character, providing amazing levels of value, advantage, and card manipulation. building cards from his hand, playing them from the stage, and tacking damage onto his attacks while restoring himself up. This guy does it all. Only if you can keep him fueled though. He's the master of resources as long as you can generate them for him. The best overhaul decks are the ones that draw and build lots of cards to help keep our enhances fueled up, and that's truly where the life symbol shines, especially when it comes to our moves. Our attack lineup was nearly all punches all day, utilizing 2 different types of moves that can replace a card in your hand with Back Alley Haymaker and Future Charge, all while keeping them relatively threatening with Overhaul's response. Even our most unassuming resource generating moves can be scary, so that also goes doubly so for our very own scary moves. Repeated 100% smash is the star of the show, meaning that it can be played very late in a string on a 5 difficulty still thanks to Overhaul, letting us play without that progressive difficulty. Paying potentially 0 foundations for this move, all while readying a huge chunk of your stage, is a tempo swing like no other. And with both EX and powerful, this thing effortlessly closes out games and does it all. Our punches are the most pivotal part of our fight, but what about what's going on in our stage? That's Overhaul's favorite place, right? Well, the life symbol is the best jack of all trades there is, offering damage pump, speed reduction, and card draw across its gray cards in spades. Passing the torch is one of the most pivotal cards in this deck, as Overhaul is rarely unable to utilize a card in his hand somehow. New training method not only lets us ramp our builds up early on, but also goes and snags key foundations to once again increase our hand size and make sure that ideal stage kind of comes together. Cooperation offers, speed, and zone manipulation were oh so pivotal in keeping us alive, especially against Mirio, alongside other life symbol defensive tech such as Faith Shield and Evade and Copy. It was often seemingly impossible to break those huge foundation walls of defense that we just saw Luke building up non-stop. And so, with our golden boy falling prey to one of the most powerful quirks around, this RLE got completely overhauled to look just like our last. Packing a 2nd win for Overhaul in a row and another finals appearance for Mirio, Luke and Emma made it clear that these characters are here to stay and are going to keep our future very undaunted. Speaking of future events, if you're itching to get in on the raid yourself, the Rochester RLE in New York is drawing nearer and nearer on September 9th, and you definitely do not want to miss it. I hope to see you there, but above all else, I hope you stay classy, UniVersus. I'll see you next time.